Hey everybody, hope you all are doing well and staying safe. I'm just so glad that Brendan and Sarah have started this discussion of how to spend time with the Lord and how different people have their quiet times, and just really looking forward to hearing from each of you how you do that. I feel like I always learn so much as I talk to other people about that. And what I've learned also from Brendan and Sarah is that they have both set aside time in the morning, which is awesome. I'm definitely not a morning person, and that kind of stinks for me because I have to be at work around 7 a.m. every morning. So I don't have a lot of time that I set aside outside of just getting to work. I do read like a brief devotional to try to get my mind and heart in the right place. But, anyways, I try to set aside time later in the day, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I feel like, just a big struggle for me is to commit to a daily habit. It's easy to kind of be one day on, one day off. So I will talk about that a little bit also. But, anyways, my first thought on this is just creating a time and a plan. And like I said, try to do that for myself in the afternoon and evening. So as I'm driving home, I try to think about what my plan is going to be for spending time with the Lord that evening. And what I've been going through recently is Luke, but there's some other resources that I've done that I'll post links for beneath this video, and hopefully some of that can be helpful and encouraging. There's a prayer devotional I've used recently that's been really awesome. There's another one on Isaiah that I did last year that's a little more in depth and is also really, really great. So, anyways, I just wanted to give an example of going through Luke, just kind of what that looks like for me. Um, so, like recently, I've been in chapter 11, and so I'm reading through that, recently, and I will usually not read more than a chapter a day. That would be a lot. Luke is a long book. Probably takes me 2 or 3 days to go through a chapter. And what I just find to be really helpful is to read it a couple times, and usually it's split up into different sections. So, like this one that I'm going to read just a brief section from is a parable. So this is Luke chapter 11, verses 5 through 8. And there's this parable where a friend goes to another friend at midnight and asks for 3 loaves of bread. The other friend says, "Don't bother me, we're all asleep in here." But verse 8 says, "I tell you, though he will not get up and give him anything because he is his friend, yet because of his impudence he will rise and give him whatever he needs." Um, and so reading that, I can read that several times, and it's easy for me to think something along the lines of, oh, this is teaching me that, I need to just keep at it when I'm praying. And I don't think that's necessarily wrong, but this commentary, and this is why I think commentaries can be so great, kind of digs deeper and is really giving you more about the character of God. So, anyways, the point that this commentary makes that I'll post the link for, it's called Sonic Light Notes. It says the point of the parable is clearly not go on praying because God will eventually respond. Rather, it is go on praying because God responds graciously to the needs of his children. Um, and so I think that's just a great point, and that would be something that I would kind of move into the next phase of my quiet time and write down, right? And if you're like me, again, you can kind of struggle with this like do it yourself mentality, like, and so I would write down something like, this teaches the truth that we can approach God knowing that he will be better to us than we deserve. He's going to be gracious. He's going to answer our prayers in the best way possible, even if we don't know what that is and we don't even know what we're looking for, something like that. So that would be kind of an example of just recording the truth that I'm reading and learning that day. There's kind of another side to it, which is more a reflection and meditation. Um, and I'll kind of alternate between these. Some days I will just write down, kind of the recording aspect, and some days I'll reflect more. And to do this, I usually use Evernote.com. It's a platform that goes across all of your devices, so that way I can't accidentally delete it. Um, but yeah, on days when I really feel like more reflective and I can kind of, apply some of what I'm reading, and I feel like, the Lord is convicting me or encouraging me with some things in that passage, I will write down. So in that Luke example, I could write down things that I feel like I've been praying for, and he's showing me that, maybe these weren't quite the right reasons, or maybe I was just trying to do it on my own, and I can trust him more. I can kind of like give the request to him, for real, instead of just like reminding him every day. And then I think another side of it could be, just getting encouragement to keep praying for things, salvation of lost friends and family members, and people I work with. Just ways to be a good, witness and compassionate leader. Different things like that he can remind me of, that are always good things to pray for. So I don't know. I just thought that might be a brief example of how to reflect. And the great thing about writing it down is that you can go back and look at it later. It often, at least for me, doesn't feel particularly powerful in the moment. It feels more just kind of matter of fact, but it's so helpful to go back and see what God was doing in those times. So that's the main point, I think, of writing it down. And then I'll start to write down other prayer requests. Sometimes I'll write out a prayer because I have a hard time focusing. I think I heard someone say that in a Bible study recently in our group, and I was really encouraged by that. Like just the idea of sometimes I can't focus my mind, so I have to write down the prayer because I get distracted. So sometimes I'll do that. And then, the last kind of thought I think that's been really helpful this week, talking to Brendan and Sarah and listening to some podcasts from Bridgetown Church and some other places, just trying to not be self-critical, trying to not evaluate the, effect of the overall lasting impact of that one quiet time in the moment, and just trusting that, God is meeting me there and he's working and I can just trust him, so that it's really, it's a relationship, and he's bringing me closer to himself, even just through, reading half a chapter. I think that's really so much better than feeling like, oh, you know what, I'm not really that focused today, so maybe I just shouldn't do it today. I think it's better just to do a little bit every day. But like I said, that's still a struggle for me. So please, I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what have you found works for you to kind of keep going every day? Do you kind of mark those places in your Bible? Do you use a reading plan from YouVersion? I've done that before, and that was really great. So yeah, just looking forward to hearing from you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. And I know it's kind of a strange time being socially isolated, but I love you guys and looking forward to just continuing to grow together.